Hey, what's going on, guys? So I already did this video telling the difference between first edition, Shadowless, and Unlimited for the base set of Pokemon, but I got a hold of a PSA 5 Unlimited Charizard. So now that I have all of the versions of the Charizard in the 5 grade, I just want to do a simple comparison and kind of redo that video. So a lot of people wonder, when they find their Pokemon card collection, what in the world is the difference between first edition, Shadowless, and Unlimited base set? Someone who don't even know those versions might just assume that this card is worth $1,000, but that is definitely not the case. Maybe if you have one in PSA 10, those are pushing a pretty penny nowadays. But yeah, people just see the Charizard and assume it is actually this one, which is the first edition, as you can tell by the stamp. So how can you tell these apart? So for everybody who sees a base set card, base set just means like, the first set of the game. If you go to Bulbapedia and click on Pokemon sets, you can find out, all the different set types, and you can even search by Pokemon if you're looking for a certain card. But if you have any old cards from, say, a childhood when, if you're in your 20s now, you most likely have base set, Jungle, Fossil, Team Rocket, or the Gym Heroes or Gym Challenge, or base set 2. So there are other versions of this that are from base set 2 that actually have a 2 right here with a little Pokeball in the middle. Those are worth even less. If your Charizard has no symbol right here and has a shadow, meaning that little black line behind the picture, almost like the picture is raising up, that is a Unlimited Charizard. And there are still a few variations as far as the dates down here, if you're looking at a UK set or stuff like that. But this is just going to be a general overview about, general base set for English cards. Most people just have English base set here in the US, so this is what they're looking for. This card case, completely ignore this. This is a PSA case. It's a company that, you can grade cards, and based on your condition, they give you a grade. This one is a little off-centered and has a lot of scratches. That's why it's a PSA 5. So looking at the back, pretty much every English Pokemon card should look like this. And yeah, this case actually even has a little crack on it. Moving on to the Shadowless. If you notice these cards side by side, this has more of a green wing and the Unlimited has more of a blue. And also you notice that that shadow is gone from the border. So if you look at this one, this card is much more plain looking. A lot of people like the aesthetic of these even more just because it's like printed right on the card. They don't have that shadow right on the edge. So if you look at these, you can definitely see the wing difference, and you can definitely see the shadow right there. The shadow runs along the bottom and up the right side of the picture only. And yeah, so that is a Shadowless one. These guys were released after the first edition. Basically, you had the first edition print run, which was the smallest, and they had the most. And then they released cards without the first edition stamp. This was supposed to be the normal release, but then they decided to add a shadow in there for Unlimited just because it made the card look a little, neater in the eyes of Wizards of the Coast. So we'll set those guys up there. Next up, we have the Holy Grail of Pokemon. This is the first edition Shadowless Charizard. So if you're collecting English only, the only cards you will find with first edition will all be Shadowless from the base set. They did not have any English cards with the stamp that were not Shadowless. That's just how they did it. So this card looks exactly to the T like a normal Shadowless card, except for that first edition stamp. It is a very distinctive stamp. You can see it just blatantly stands out, and that is why it is such a perfect icon of the old Wizards of the Coast cards. I wish they still had some type of system like this. They kind of dabbled with it in Japanese, and they had this first edition stamp all the way through the Neo sets. But yeah, once the Wizards of the Coast stopped making the cards, it just kind of went by the wayside. But looking at the cards once again, all side by side, this is a great look and a great, tool to use to kind of differentiate. If you see that first edition stamp, immediately think first edition base set Charizard. A lot of the other English cards also have a version of the stamp that's kind of a shadow. It's almost like a, in marking, it's not quite on there as blatant. It's almost like a gray stamp. If you look up a gray stamp base set, you'll see what I'm talking about. But if you see that stamp at all on there and you see no border on the shadow, no shadow on the border rather, you know it's a first edition English base set card. Now be wary of buying these cards. Of course, in other languages, the language will be kind of different, so you might be able to tell there. But a lot of the other languages actually printed the shadow on their first edition cards, so kind of keep that in mind. And looking at this one, these two are exactly the same with the exception of no first edition stamp. And then you move over here, there's a few more differences, you can see by the wings. And then the card just kind of looks a little different, more vibrant red. And of course, the shadow is the big thing there. So let me know what you guys think about these. I'm going to make a little video comparing the quality of these cards because I feel like that needs to be addressed too. So if you guys, looked at this video and it helped you, let me know below and we'll see you next time. Peace.